and that's pointed on me. Hi, everyone. I am. I'm going to sit next to you. Hi, I'm going to do my little introduction. Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of my takeover of the Entrepreneur Magazine Facebook page. We are live today with Robin McGraw, talking about product launches, branding, being an entrepreneur, launching new initiatives, rebooting careers, and talking about all kinds of cool things. I hope that you will ask your questions here live, and we're going to try and curate some questions and make sure you heart it up. Tell us where you're viewing from and how you're viewing, like are you in the United States, are you abroad? Give us a shout out. Make sure you like this and heart this and share this. And now I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see the beautiful Robin. Here we go. That looks terrific. And then I'm going to come sit right in. So, and maybe if you can stand behind, just tell us, make sure I'm in the frame here. How are we looking? How's that look?
How do we look?
Great. So, say hi to Facebook.
Yes, hi Facebook, Facebook Live.
So everyone who watches this, and probably who are watching, they're entrepreneurs. Kind of give everyone a little bit of context and tell us your story.
Well, we are here in my offices, and we've been here in this office for now 3 years. I launched Robin McGraw Revelation, as you can see on the wall behind us, about 3 years ago. I actually started creating the line, the lifestyle brand, probably 7 years ago. I always go by the timing of that because of my granddaughter. She's 6.5 years old. My daughter-in-law was pregnant with her when I started the creation of it. So I always know the time frame. But it is a lifestyle brand, and I launched it with a skincare line that I'm very proud of, and very proud of the success of the launch. So,
well, I want you to expand that thought a little bit wider and kind of give maybe people who don't know you on a first name basis how they might know you, or some familiarity. Like, bring us, draw a little bigger circle.
There is someone I think they might know.
Yeah, bring us into it.
Okay. So again, of course, my name is Robin McGraw, and not a lot of people might recognize my last name McGraw, but you might recognize who I'm married to by his first name. Well, his name is Dr. Phil. Now, I don't call him Dr. Phil. In fact, I have told him, don't Dr. Phil me. So I go out of my way to not address him as Dr. Phil. But yes, he's Dr. Phil, and if not for the Dr. Phil show, I would not have a platform. I would not have the opportunity to reach millions of women and men, but I consider them, the viewers, the women out there, like girlfriends. After 15 years, I mean, we just started taping the 15th season of the Dr. Phil show. But yes, he is my husband. I call him Philip. I have since we were dating. In fact, we just last month celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we've been married 40 years. We've been together 43 years. And when I first met him, I said, okay, so I know everyone calls you Phil. I know your name is Phil. It's another side story. I met him through his sister, so I was over at his home because of his sister. But I said, so everyone calls you Phil. What is your full name? And that's, for some reason, a question I ask most everyone.
Okay.
What is your full name? And he said, Philip Calvin McGraw. I may be giving out something not a lot of people know, but his middle name is Calvin.
Name. Hey, Tam, can you bring me my backpack, please? Thanks. Philip Calvin.
Philip Calvin McGraw.
Okay.
And I
Super
said,
strong name.
I'm going to call you, can I call you Philip? Because I love that name. He said, well, this tells you a lot about him. Whisper it to me. And I whispered Philip in his ear, and he went, oh, you can call me Philip, and you are the only one that can.
And what's your maiden name?
My maiden name is Jameson.
And so, where did you guys meet? Did you meet in Texas?
We met in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Now, let's see if I remember correctly. Is he an Oklahoma boy? I can't remember originally.
Yes, he is from Oklahoma. His family lived in Oklahoma.
Right.
And he lived in Kansas, but Oklahoma and Texas.
But you guys met in Texas.
We're both Texans.
Okay.
Yes, we met in Texas.
And tell us how many children you have.
We have two precious, well, I almost said boys, but men, young men. But we have 2 boys. Jay is 37, and Jordan is about to be, in a matter of weeks, he's about to be 30. But more importantly, we have 2 grandchildren.
Wow.
Yes, Avery Elizabeth, 6.5, and London Philip, 5.
So here we are now, flash forward all these years later. Maybe let's get a little bit personal first before we talk business. Business is personal, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very personal. My business, yes.
I think
Straight
so
from
too.
the heart.
I think so too. Give us some of these relationship tips. I imagine, and we're just meeting for the first time, but I imagine that you're probably the wind beneath his wings. That
Totally.
behind a strong man is an even more amazing woman, and so I suppose I would suspect that you are a force to be reckoned with.
I'm glad this is on tape. I'm so glad this is being recorded.
He's probably watching.
I'd like that part on a loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can make that happen actually.
Okay.
And so give us some relationship tips. How have you guys stayed married so long, and what's the key to happiness and staying together?
Well, let me be the first to say it's not a perfect relationship. I mean, I don't believe that there is such a thing as a perfect relationship, perfect marriage. But I believe that we have been together this long because we work every day at it. He's a precious man. And but before we ever got married, we dated 3 years, and we just had lots of talks. And we use this word a lot in interviews like this, but we negotiated before we got married. We talked about it, and I told him what I needed in a marriage. He told me what he needed.
Yeah.
We talked about what we were willing to give and
Live with, not live with.
not live with.
Yeah. Does he
And
leave
so,
the cap off the
like,
toothpaste and things like that?
Oh, I mean, pick your battles. That's how I feel about it. Pick your battles.
And what are you? Are you introverted, extroverted? Like, what's your personality type?
I'm very extroverted.
Okay. And how about him?
And I have to tell you, a lot of people don't know this, but he's very shy.
Yeah, I can. When I met him, when we shot with him at his studio, I got the same impression, and I'm like that too, actually.
Really?
Yeah, and so one of the best books I've read recently is by an author, Susan Cain, and Susan wrote this book called Quiet. It's something about how to make yourself heard or be understood in a world that can't stop talking.
Yes.
And she really breaks down introverts, extroverts, and then this hybrid category of ambivert, which is a mixture of both.
Yes.
I feel like I'm kind of classic introvert. I kind of felt like Phil was introverted as well. President Obama is an introvert, and we have this ability to kind of turn it on when the lights
Yes.
and cameras are on. But then we're most of the time we're in our heads or introspective or.
It's very bright.
Is that how
bright
he
man.
is?
Yes, yes. I think you just described very brilliant, very bright men and women. Can't turn it off. Always thinking. So, yes.
Yeah. So you talked about negotiating the terms of your relationships, some of these deal breakers or things you could live with. And then what were some of those deal breakers, like you couldn't live with or without?
Easy. I actually asked him pretty much on our first date, maybe second, but I said, do you drink alcohol? Or in excess?
Okay.
And because I grew up with an alcoholic father, and he did as well. But I remember being very young, almost to the day, I know the day when I made that decision, that I would not marry an alcoholic. I would not raise my children in a home with an alcoholic parent. And I asked him, do you drink alcohol, or at least to an excess? Because
And he said,
of that decision. He said, you know what? I actually think I'm allergic to alcohol.
oh, wow.
He really, to this day, he does. And I said, I think I love you. But that was a very important question to me. It was very important to me to know that he was not one of those that was potentially going to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So that was important to me. And I have nothing against that. I enjoy a glass of wine. So, but I just did not want to be married to an alcoholic.
Yeah, you want to break the cycle a bit,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And how about him? Was there any? What were some of his terms?
He's a smart man. Let's go back to that. He's a smart man. He knew better than to tell me anything that was wrong with me.
Sure. What was he doing at the time for work? I mean, he wasn't doing the Dr. Phil
No, he
show.
was going to school full time.
Yeah. To do law?
We were very young when we met.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not law. No, he was always wanted to be a psychologist.
Okay.
He was studying psychology.
Well, I know he was doing lots of different things, consulting and doing some legal work for some other celebrity
much
talents.
later. Yeah, that came much later.
Gotcha.
We were in school. I was working full time, went to school at night. He went to school full time.
And what did you want to do?
I actually wanted to be. Well, I always knew I wanted to be a wife and mother. I have always believed I was put on this earth to be a mother and a wife and now a grandmother, of course. But I was a stay-at-home mom. But when I was going to school, I wanted to be an elementary school teacher.
Oh, excellent.
But the day I found out I was pregnant, that was
You put that on
perfect.
hold.
I put everything on hold and decided I just wanted to stay at home, take care of my home and my children, my husband, and that's what I was meant to be.
Okay, so now let's flash forward a little bit farther and talk about this entrepreneur journey you've been on.
Yes.
You know, we're all of us, we're in the struggle, you know, and it's relative. But I guess I want to ask you, you have resources now.
Yes.
Like, is it easier now, you know, this big enterprise, you know, and doing all these different things that you're doing? Is it easier to start something now, or was it easier back then when you had less to lose, or you didn't have a reputation to think about, or what are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say easier now as opposed to back then. I would say easier now because I have the opportunity, the platform. I've been afforded a platform, the Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
I will be the first to admit, because of where we have come in our life now, the decision to leave Texas, to move to California, to start the Dr. Phil show, all of that has played a huge part in where I am right now.
Yeah.
We started our life together. I was 19 years old. He was 22. So
Yeah.
everything we've ever done brought us to where we are right now. And so, yes, I believe, of course, it's easier now, but the experience that I have been through, the things I have learned as a young woman, a young child living in the house with my father as an alcoholic, watching my mother handle that, raise me, teaching me the strength of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
All of that prepared me for now. But to say that it's easier now, yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's easier. But I've had to live my entire life and experience everything.
And is it easier now
together.
because of the resources that you've got, the platform?
Much easier,
Okay.
of course.
So then, what advice would you give your 21-year-old self, maybe just coming out of college? You know, what would you tell her?
Always, you must, I believe, always know in your heart what it is you were put on this earth to do. And never look away from that dream. Never look away from what you know in your heart
Yeah.
you were put on this earth to do, and you just have to do whatever it takes. I will say that I always believed, at the risk of repeating myself, I have always believed and always known I wanted to be a wife and mother. And I made that happen.
Yeah. I think it's really important for you to verbalize that because, you know, we're talking about business here,
Yes.
and maybe a lot of people will marginalize that, but there's probably no...
That's a very important job.
But there's
it's a
no
very
more...
important job.
I mean, is there a more important job
No,
than
I don't
parent?
believe so.
Right.
And I'm very proud of my children. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of how they've turned out. And so I'm very proud of that job. But at the same time, I know I was being prepared for another phase of my life, and this is it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important thing to understand, like knowing yourself, being that self-aware that, you know, that was what you really were passionate about is, you know, being a mother and doing that, and now you're freed up a bit more, your kids are grown
Yes.
up, more independent.
I didn't know that when we were living in Texas and Philip was going to work every day, I was taking the kids to school, we were just living our lives. And I didn't know that things would change. We would be living now here in California. He would be doing the Dr. Phil show. I would end up going to every show. That was not planned. None of that was planned. And now here we are. And before I launched Robin McGraw Revelation, I launched When Georgia Smiled.
Oh, I said revolution, didn't I? It's
Yeah,
revelation.
It is kind of like a revolution.
Yeah.
What I've created is like my revolution.
Yeah.
But it is Robin McGraw Revelation.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about that because I considered this a revolution.
Yeah.
But before I even really launched the lifestyle brand and everything that has come since then, I launched a year before When Georgia Smiled, the Robin McGraw Revelation Foundation. And that is my foundation dedicated to domestic violence and sexual assault. And it is because of that I had the ability to create that foundation after sitting through every Dr. Phil show we've taped, over 2,500, and seeing the shows we've done on domestic violence and sexual assault, and seeing the strength in the women and men who come to the show, not only seeking help to get out of such a tragic situation, but the other women and men who have gotten out of those situations and have come back to the show asking to help also get them out of that situation. The strength that they show has moved me so much that I created the foundation. So I did not know I would have this opportunity when we were living in Texas.
Yeah. These are the opportunities to come. I'm going to just, for those of you who are tuning in, I'm Brian Elliott, taking over the Entrepreneur Magazine Facebook page today. Maybe you know me from my popular show Behind the Brand. Hopefully you are watching it on entrepreneur.com. And we're taking your questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know a question you've got for Robin. We're here with Robin McGraw of Robin McGraw Revelation. And we're talking everything business and personal. We're talking about launching products. We're talking about, being a parent, work-life balance. We're talking about the journey, the struggle. We're talking about maybe rebooting a career in, next phase of your life. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask? We're kind of fielding questions here. Let's pause for just a second. I'm going to take a look at what's happening here. What is that? Tell me the Wi-Fi again. It was...
It's DP McGraw.
That's right. Well, I can't get enough of this. This is great so far. What do you guys think? Ask your questions. Make sure you share this with your friends. Like it up. Heart it up. Let us know where you're watching from. I'm going to be looking at some of these questions here. I guess the other thing I want to ask is, so what's the most difficult thing about being you now? I mean, we're flashed forward. You're sort of, you're never done being a parent, right?
Never, no.
So I have kids too, and I'm really excited for the next phase in their life and helping them navigate, the somewhat choppy waters of those teenage years and beyond.
Yes.
But tell us what's the most difficult part of being you now, after starting kind of this new venture, this new thing.
Well, if I had to say the most difficult part of being me now would be probably there's just not enough hours in the day, and who doesn't say that?
Yeah.
But you were right. You're never finished being a mother. Like, I talk to my children every day. I fortunately get to see our oldest son every day. He offices there on the Paramount lot. But I'm in touch with them every day, helping them do whatever it is they need to do. I also am a grandmother now.
Yeah.
So I get to see my grandchildren as often as I can. I have a rule. I never say no. If they need me to babysit, they come first.
Are you still at every single Dr. Phil show?
I'm at every Dr. Phil show.
And he shoots twice a day, right?
We shoot 2 shows every day, 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
But it's so rare that it really is only 2 shows a day, because just this last week, every show turned into 2. It's not scripted. He never knows exactly how it's going to go, what he's going to say, what he's going to do. He doesn't meet the guests before the show. They walk out, and it just starts. And so we've had some...
Call-in.
Hi.
This is not a call-in show.
So, there's supposed to be 2 shows, but they will sometimes turn into 2 each with each show. So last week we did 4 shows every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I have a company to run. Then I have my foundation.
Why are you there? Is it for moral support, or like because you're sort of behind the scenes, and yet
Exactly.
I kind of feel like Phil wouldn't. It's almost like you're the yin to his yang, right? Like
I believe that. Thank you for saying that. But
like,
it's exactly that's
he's got
really
balance
how it
and maybe
started. That's
moral
what,
support.
It was not. It was not on purpose. It was not planned.
Yeah.
But
You're
I
like
have to say
secret
this,
weapon.
I kind of am.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that. But here's the deal. We started the show, okay, moving out here, whole new life, whole new lifestyle. I will tell you, in Texas, I never went to his office every day. I seldom went to the office. But we move out here, whole new life, very proud of him. Of course, I watched every Oprah appearance he was on, but I didn't go to Chicago for every one of them. So we move out here. He's about to tape the very first show. School had not started out here yet for our youngest son, who was 15 when we moved here. So, of course, as a family, both of our boys, myself, friends, we all go to that first taping just in support.
To be there for him.
Yes,
Sure.
yes. So he's taping 2 shows that day. I'm there. He finishes that first show. And he's like, okay, thank you to the audience. Thank you for coming. That's our first show. And he looks out at me, and I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
I think you're brilliant. Of course, I have always really admired Philip.
Yeah.
And I really think he's brilliant.
So it became a habit.
So he just comes out there to me, and we just walk off.
Yeah.
Because he thought the show was over up there.
Okay.
So he comes to me, he walks off, and we're talking about it. And the next show, kind of the same thing.
So it became a thing.
Became a thing, and then his executive producer is a woman. Almost his entire control room are women. They love that side of him. It showed a different side.
Warmed him up a little bit.
Because we actually have a little chemistry.
Yeah.
We connect.
Well, he's known for kind of tough love, or
love.
did he always have that phrase? How's that working for you? Like, has he ever
Kind
asked
of,
that
yes.
for you?
Well, he's not. He doesn't get to Dr. Phil me.
Okay,
Remember?
that's right.
Like, he actually has said before, "How's that working for you?" But only in positive situations. But
Yeah.
let me back up and correct myself. If I ask him to Dr. Phil me, he gets to do it.
Okay.
Like if something's going on and someone's kind of bugging me or something bothers me, I'll go, Philip, I need you to sum all this up in 2 words. Just give me 2 words, and he'll say schizophrenic, and he'll wrap it all up for me, and I'll go, oh, thank you, okay, enough. So it always has to be about someone else or something else, not me.
No, I'm getting the picture pretty clearly that you guys are a super dynamic power couple. If you're just tuning in, we are live on the Entrepreneurial Magazine web Facebook page. I'm Brian Elliott, host of the show Behind the Brand. I'm here with Robin McGraw, and we're talking everything business, product launches, relationships, family, work-life balance. Please feel free to share this, like it up, tell us what's going on, and we're going to be shooting another episode of Behind the Brand here shortly. I guess maybe I just have 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay.
So, you're sort of reinventing yourself.
Yes,
You know,
that's true.
we're all at different phases in our life, but you raised your family, you're moving on, now you have this business, this enterprise. Talk to us about some of the mistakes that you've made. Maybe because people want to know, what are some of these lessons learned? What can you tell the audience?
Now, are you talking about business or
Yeah.
life?
I want to talk about business because, you were doing the home family thing for so long and probably going to school and everything Phil was doing, but this is really the first time,
Yes,
it's the first time you were doing your own thing.
That's right.
What mistakes did you make?
Well, I will have to say probably when I say I was smart enough to admit what I didn't know, but my mistake was not really knowing what I didn't know. So when I started this business, I did surround myself with people who really knew what they were doing in the business I had created.
Sure. You have
But-
doctors and scientists. And,
Yes, formulators, all of that. But I will say I didn't do enough research to know exactly the right people to bring in-house. I'll put it that way. So I
putting your team together.
putting my team together.
Yeah.
You have to research and you can't just go big from day one.
Well, how do you hire?
Start with a smaller nucleus.
Do you hire on skill? Do you hire on personality? Is it a combo of both?
Well, skill is more important than personality. But as a woman, and I say this a lot when I travel around the country speaking on behalf of my foundation, and I end almost every speech with, because I am speaking about domestic violence and sexual assault, and so I will end every speech with, women, the one thing that we have that I believe we were born with is that intuition, that women's intuition, that feeling in your gut, and I go with that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I said, when you ask someone casually, how are you doing? We always expect everyone to say, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. But go with your gut on their answer. Always go with the intuition.
Right.
That sounded fake. And ask a second time, because that may be the day you change someone's life. That may be the day you save someone's life. So I do believe on going with my gut on a lot of things. And I will say, I maybe should have not done that every time when it comes to putting together a business, putting together those who are going to help me lead the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made a few mistakes there, but quickly learned from my mistakes and have surrounded myself now with people I believe are brilliant. We've spent this week making some announcements about the team and someone that has joined me in a partnership on a very important line that's about to be launched. So I have learned from the mistakes.
Maybe one last question, because I'm curious. I think fear gets a lot of people stuck, especially fear of failure, particularly entrepreneurs. If you're successful, you get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but I still think a lot of people get stuck. What do you think, or maybe have you been stuck before? What do you think gets people stuck?
Well, I think for me, I refuse to get stuck. Like, I have this passion, this drive. I am constantly creating in my mind. Like, I truly do have a creative streak in me that will not stop.
Yeah, you're a charger.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And so it's something like you have to have a talk with yourself, I believe. And if you don't support yourself, if you don't pump yourself up, who's going to?
Yes.
So I think that should be a number one goal, that once you start a very big project in your life, doesn't even matter if it's a business, but whatever project, whatever you're doing that you're passionate about, that you believe in, I think you have a talk with yourself and keep yourself pumped up about it. Read, get all the knowledge you can, continue to educate yourself on it, but always believe in yourself and keep yourself focused.
Yeah. I've interviewed some of the most amazing minds on the planet. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Thank you.
But everyone has said basically the same thing. And some of the people that I've talked to, I just read another great book by Brene Brown. Have you read Brene's book?
No, I haven't, but I've heard it.
Oh, she's amazing. So Brene's book is, well, she has a couple books. One talks about vulnerability and shame, and she talks about the depth and level of our, the depth that we're willing to be vulnerable is the measure of our courage. And she also talks about, this negative self-talk. And it either comes from the outside, parents or friends or well-meaning people saying, when are you going to get a real job?
Yes.
To the thoughts in our head, and sometimes we marginalize or disqualify ourselves because we don't feel worthy or enough or whatever. And I just think it's all BS, right? Like,
I agree.
It's manufactured. We manufacture it.
I agree. It's what, and I'm when he was talking to you, but we all have what he calls, and what I believe in, a personal truth.
Yeah.
Did he talk to you about that?
No, but
Okay.
but it really resonates with me because I think about that as kind of my North Star.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe in that. I believe we all have a personal truth, that when we're alone at night in bed and we don't have that social mask on that we project to everyone out there, oh, I can do this, I'm a winner. But if your personal truth is when you get home at night and you're all by yourself in that bed and you're telling yourself, I'm a failure, I can't do this, it'll never work, then that's your personal truth, and that's really what you're believing every time you go out there during the day and go, I can do this, I'm a winner. But your personal truth, what you truly believe in your heart, is that you will fail, you cannot do it, it's not going to work, then that's what's going to happen. You have to get right within yourself, right with your personal truth. When you're there at night by yourself, your dialogue you have with yourself, what you truly believe, has got to change. And you have to do whatever it takes. I mean, maybe you were raised like me with an alcoholic parent, and so my entire life was lived with uncertainty. But if you truly believe, if you have a personal truth that you have just with yourself, of course, at night, that is, I will make it, I will succeed, then I believe that's where it starts. That's the beginning. Because I truly can tell you right now, my personal truth is I will not fail, I will not live with regret, I will not live with regret. I cannot, I would not be happy with myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what it takes.
Yeah, and I'll add to that you know, I've failed many times, but you know, the only failure really is in giving up.
Is giving up.
Or giving up too soon, right? I mean,
not
it's okay
recognizing where you failed.
Yeah, and a lot of us are waiting to be picked. You know, we can pick ourselves, right?
That's
a lot of people have talked about that. Malcolm Gladwell talked about that, and Stephen Pressfield and Seth Godin, all author friends of mine. It is kind of about picking yourself.
Completely off.
Oh.
You're back.
Okay. All right, we're back. Thank you, and sorry for the buffering. But so great to sit down with you. You've been getting a little behind-the-scenes glimpse of what we're going to do right now, a little taping, a little filming of my regular show, Behind the Brand. I am the host and creator of the show. I'm here with superstar and amazingly wise Robin McGraw. So thank you so much. Be sure to share this broadcast, like it up, leave your comments. I'm going to go back through and kind of read everything you guys have said and include it in my wrap-up. Thank you so much, and I'll give you a hug.
Yes.
Great meeting you. Thank you so much.
Very nice
We'll say
meeting
goodbye
you.
to
Had a
Facebook.
ball.
Okay.
Bye.